Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp, and today we are going to do another brew review. It's going to be another rather short video because we have already talked about this brewery as well. I'll refer you to that video. We are going to talk about a classic Guinness. I told you guys the day before yesterday we were going to talk about an Irish beer. Now we all know the classic Guinness, the Guinness Draught. This is a slightly different version, but we do know that Guinness likes to make different versions of their beer. For example, sometime around the Second World War or the First World War, I actually kind of forgot, they made a version of their stout called Antwerpen. Lovely label. If I find it, I'll put it up here, or up there probably. But they make different versions, and even though Guinness was founded in 1759, they quickly grew and they quickly started exporting. Now, in colonial times, England was rather keen on colonializing half the world, and that's where this beer comes in, because they were sailing off to to the Caribbean, to Asia, to anywhere, and this beer is called the West Indies Porter. Why? Pretty much the same story that people tend to tell about the IPAs or the India Pale Ales. They needed a beer that they could take with them on the boat and that would survive the long journey, because of course there was no flight and there was no quick way of traveling. It took quite a while to get to India or anywhere really, so they saw this as a challenge. And in the late 1700s, not that much was known about what kept your beer well. So they started experimenting with different ingredients, with different volumes. And in 1801, they actually succeeded in making a beer that kept longer. In this case, it is a slightly more alcoholic version and a hoppier version of their beer they already had. So in 1801, the West Indies Porter was born. Instead of a 4 point something percent ABV, it had a 6% ABV, and they put in a bit more hops for the bacteriostatic traits. Of course, this isn't that same beer. It is based on that same beer, but it is a modern take, because they did have the entries in one of the brewer's logbooks or diaries, but for some reason the true recipe got lost somewhere. But this is the modern take on that one. Now, what can this bottle tell us? I love the fact that it's a signed bottle, nice shape. Unfortunately, it is a one-way glassware, but nonetheless. Guinness West Indies Porter, Brewer's Source 1801, St. James Gate, Dublin. Okay. Love the colors as well, by the way. I love the beige and the yellow combined with the black. We're not gonna sing black and yellow today. What else does this say? Actually, not that much. Okay, so we can go straight into trying this beer. Just like a classic stout or porter, this is brewed with barley, malted barley and roasted barley. 100% barley. And I like this occasion because I can whip out my Guinness glass again. I got this glass from Antwerpen in Antwerp, like the coziest, truest Irish pub. And this is not a sponsorship because I won it fair and square on St. Patrick's Day. Here we go. A 500 ml, so I can have two of these again. Lovely pour, a nice, as they say, black and tan. Ruby red is the color that the beer is actually, but that's just like Coca-Cola. It is a ruby red, more of a dark brown, blackish color. Some lovely, lovely beige, brownish beige foam. Nice dense foam as we are used to from them. Very rich scent, a lot of roasty scents, a lot of roasty aromas, but in the good way. Very, very fresh actually. Tiny hint of chocolates, more like cocoa nibs. Okay, let's have a taste. Cheers. Okay. First things first, it is slightly less creamy than the Guinness Draught and a bit more carbonated. Now I say carbonated because this is carbonated and not nitronated. This has carbon dioxide and not necessarily nitrogen in it. So it is a bit more heavily carbonated. You can see the bubbles on the bottom of the glass here, or at least I can see those. Quite thin mouthfeel, a bit less creamy, but that is of course because it's carbonated and not nitrous. Nonetheless, the carbon dioxide does bring out a bit more aromas, and it boosts not necessarily the alcohol in this beer, but mainly the roasty flavors, and that means that the chocolate, which is present, is put on the back burner for a bit, and we get more of the roasty aromas in there. I'm trying to, like I always say, we taste with our nose as well, but with beer that is literally the case. We swallow and then some fumes, some aromas go through the nasal cavity. That's why we swallow and we don't spit like wine tasters. But in the aftertaste, in the nasal cavity, that's the moment when the chocolate comes in. So we get some, I wouldn't say straightforward chocolate, I'd say some like heavy dark chocolate or chocolate sauce, but like not the sweet kind. Like I said, cocoa nibs. Again, we've had this a few times before. It is quite thin, it is a bit watery when it comes to density, like there's not much sticking to the glass. It's not sugary, it's not too sweet, it's a tiny bit sweet. But because of the carbon dioxide, because of the roasted aromas, and because of the amount of foam it has as well, it does fill up the mouth. You do get that full, rich mouthfeel. Like I said, not the creaminess, not the creamy texture of Guinness Draught, but this is a great replacement for that. Yeah, let's keep it short. I'd say we go straight to the scoring, and I would score this beer, yeah, rather mediocre. It's a good beer, not necessarily my favorite, but I would say in this case 325, 350. It's a nice standard porter beer. I don't get that extra hoppiness. It does taste slightly more herbal, but only in the slightest. But I do think that I still prefer the original Guinness Draught over this one. But nonetheless, beautiful bottle, like the beer, not bad at all. Let's call it a 325. Yeah. So let's see what I have in store for you guys in a few days. I am going on holiday, so I might miss next Monday, but if all goes well, I'll be back on Wednesday or Friday. As usual, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, let me know in the comments, and yeah, if you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll be the first to know whenever I upload something, which is normally Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. local time. Until then, see you guys in the next video. Slåntje.